here on Unacademy's YouTube channel for IELTS. And as always, we are preparing for your IELTS test, and I'm back with a video that will help you perform better. Now, this video is in continuation to the previous two videos that I have already done on this channel, where we were discussing cue cards of the speaking test. As part of those two videos, I have already discussed 5 different cue cards where I have given my own responses. I have shared what are the correct strategies that you can follow while responding to the cue cards. I have also shared tips on what to avoid, what you should definitely focus on, and some of the myths that exist in the circles for IELTS prep were discussed and made clear that you don't need to worry about those. So those were the things that were done in the previous videos. Now today's video, we still have another 7 cue cards to discuss. So this series will discuss a total of 12 cue cards, 5 of which are done. I'll try and do 4 in this video and 3 in the last one. So the first video, I missed out on 1 of the cue cards. Okay. Now before I get to that, I would like to discuss with you the preparation for your IELTS test overall. Alright. Now I know almost all of us are looking for a good guide, a good coach to help us prepare for the IELTS test, because at the end of the day it is a test on which our future is hinged, right? We are putting a lot of hopes in this test, and our preparation is with the expectation that at the end of it we will make it to a country of our choice, right, and to a university of our choice, and then pursue a career that we've been dreaming of for the longest time. So we do not definitely want that we are appearing for the test over and over again, time and time again, right, and in the process losing our energy, losing resources, losing time, okay, losing money, and all in all losing mental peace, the most important part. So I wanted to just discuss with you how is it that you can indeed prepare for your test in a much better way. So I am an Unacademy Plus educator. Now what is an Unacademy Plus educator? An Unacademy Plus educator is somebody who can teach on the Unacademy Plus platform. What is that? The Unacademy Plus platform is a platform within the Unacademy app which acts as an organized academy. Right? So the app in itself is something where you get a lot of free content, right, in terms of free classes, in terms of free videos, but the content is not very well and not thoroughly organized, right? It is more like piecemeal preparation, wherein you'll find something from here for say maybe one topic, something from there for maybe let's say another topic, right? But you will not get a structured and organized prep for your test. So that what that may end up doing is it may leave you prepared only until up to a certain point for your test, which is never great, right? What is worse than failure? Half the knowledge. All right. In fact, failure teaches you a lot more than half-baked knowledge and information, right? So Unacademy Plus comes into the picture at this particular point of time. On Unacademy Plus, like I said, tutors, educators such as I and a few others, we offer structured courses, right? We offer structured courses which follow a schedule, and they take you in your preparation right from the beginning all the way to the test itself, right? So every aspect, every topic, every point that needs to be discussed, covered, explained, taught is done in these courses. So I, as an educator, I offer 2 different courses for you to prepare through for your test. One is the grammar course. Now this grammar course can also be called the language course. So all in all, the objective of this course is to help you learn your English, to improve your English. And then there is of course the IELTS course itself. Now I personally feel that as a test taker, this is your more important course, especially if you're somebody who has average English or below average or weak English, all right? If you're somebody who already has above average, good, or excellent English, well, then you just need to attend this course, get ready for the test, and go appear for the test, right? But guys, the straightforward fact of the IELTS test is that to perform well on the test, you need to know your language well. If you do not know your language well, there is nothing you can do to score well on the IELTS test, okay? So language has a few factors, right? It has form, it has meaning, it has relevance, it has logic, right? These four things come together to form a strong language. So that is something that you learn through my grammar course. Now I know it says grammar, but I cover all of those things in the grammar course itself. This course is for 3 weeks, right? And the classes are Monday to Friday, and they are 1 hour each. Same is the case with the IELTS course. This is again for 3 weeks, and what happens is that you get to attend 3 different courses instead of 1. And sorry, just 1 second. Right, I'm so sorry. So my next courses have to be published now. They haven't yet been published, but they should be up by the end of the day today, hopefully, or maximum tomorrow, right? So what I've done for the IELTS courses, I've split it into 3 parts. So there is one course which is called the listening and speaking course. Then there is one course which is called the reading course, and there is one course which is called the writing course. Basically, it's just the same thing split across 3 different courses. Once again, the classes are from Monday to Friday, and they're an hour each. Now, the beauty of my courses is that your weekends are free, so you don't have to worry about attending classes over the weekend, right? Something which otherwise is very irritating. I mean, I personally don't enjoy doing anything over the weekends. So, and I can understand most of the people who are appearing for the IELTS test are either professionals or college students, and would definitely appreciate a weekend off, right? That being said, what I'd recommend is that if you are somebody who is, let's say, above average at English, I recommend you get the 1 month course. You get the 1 month subscription to Unacademy Plus. So how do you attend these classes is you subscribe to Unacademy Plus, okay? And once you subscribe, you can then start attending classes with me, or for that matter, any educator who's offering courses on Unacademy. So it's not that you have to pay a separate subscription fee for grammar and then a separate for IELTS. No, you pay this 1 month subscription once. You attend all my courses as well as all courses offered by other educators as well. Alright, so for 1 month the course fee is 2,700 rupees, right? And if you're somebody who is average, below average, or weak at English, I recommend you get the 3 months subscription, right? And the fee for this one is 6,600 rupees. Now let me explain why do I say you should get 3 months. What I recommend is you do at least 2 rounds of grammar course. So my courses are circular. They start at a point and then they come back to that point, alright? So you should do at least 2 rounds of the grammar course and then start preparing for the IELTS test. See, once you learned your English, the IELTS test is a piece of cake, alright? It is that simple. Now all you have to do is, and then in the 3rd month, while you're preparing for the IELTS test, you could once again take a 3rd round of the grammar course as well. That way your language will truly be up to the mark and you can score very well on the test. Now, there is one very important piece of information for you. While subscribing, use this code Manil Live and you'll get a 10% discount on these prices. So your prices will actually drop to 2,430 rupees and this will drop to 6,000 rupees, which I think is a great deal, right? And not just you get to study with everyone who's teaching for IELTS on Unacademy Plus, alright? So this is all about how you can prepare for your IELTS test with me, and also how is it that I teach and what is it that you should follow while studying, alright? Not just go through blind preparation for your test, right? I've seen a lot of students who start preparing for the test and all the way up until say 2 months into their test prep, they still haven't taken a mock test. And then there are those who are just taking mock tests on a daily basis. Both are absolutely wrong, alright? Sorry, I need to keep pumping in some amount of coffee to keep me going. I haven't slept properly in a few nights, so it's feeling a little under the pump, right? Because there are a few deadlines to be met. Anyways, coming to the topic at hand, which is actually the cue cards. So like I said, this one I'll try and cover 4. So let's get straight to it. So this one was done. This was covered in the previous 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct. So these are the 5 that I've already covered. Let's move on to the 6th one. Now here's how it's going to work. Here's how it is going to work. I will have my clock in front of me, and that will be set to 2 minutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just read the cue card once. I will not even take the minute to prepare. Of course, you will not do so. But this is sort of me just challenging myself and showing you that there is a very easy way to handle the cue cards, okay? And then I'll explain what is it that I did. So I'll read the cue card and then I'll set the timer, right? Describe an invention that changed how people live. You should say what it is, how it changed people's lives, the benefits it brought, and say if it is more important for older or younger people. Alright, my 2 minutes clock has started. I think the one invention that has truly changed the lives of almost everyone is the smartphone. We see it in practically everyone's hands these days, irrespective of the gender, the age, the economic status, the financial classes. None of that matters. Everyone today, almost everyone today, has a smartphone. Smartphones were a very rare occurrence or a luxury only until about 10 years ago. But then this boom came in the market where, because technology got more affordable and mass production came into being, the smartphone became very affordable. And once everyone had the smartphone, net connectivity became something which was almost available for free. So people were now able to connect with each other through social media without any trouble. And I think that had a massive impact on how people started living. I think today the world speaks a lot more. People are a lot more opinionated without any research, and definitely there is a lot more commotion, chaos and confusion in the society as compared to what was in the past. That being said, there are a lot of benefits that have been brought about by the invention of the smartphone, and that the primary one being more information for those who care to look for it. Right, for example, I myself, I sit down and I have done a lot of research around food habits, dietary consumptions over the past few months, and I have come to realize that I had been living off myths when it came to fitness eating, right? And thanks to all the research and the information available on the internet, where through internet libraries, I read published articles, I was able to bust those myths. Alright, so the 2 minutes are up. Now, while giving my response for this particular cue card, I covered what it is. I also sort of added a little more information on how did it happen, and what has been the trend, the pattern in terms of the invention being made available to the people. Then I discussed in detail how it changed people's lives, right? Which was a very negative, my point in general was a more negative point as compared to what people would say probably. But then the very next point was a contrary point wherein I discussed the benefits, but at the same time I also ensured that I create some sort of a link between the 2 points, right? Suddenly I'm not going from, oh, it's the worst thing on this planet, to, oh, it's the greatest thing on the planet. I ensured that I said something like, there is a lot of people for information for people who care to look for it, right? Something which was otherwise something which was probably which is something which probably a lot of people would not do, and that could be an issue. Now the last thing, if it is more important for older, younger people, I was not able to cover it because the alarm went off, which means my 2 minutes were up. And on the day of the test, once your 2 minutes are done, they will not let you speak any further. That being said, it's not an issue at all, right? It's not an issue at all. It's not like I could see the clock. I was not even on my the app was not even open, right? Because I did not want to keep an eye on the app so that I don't keep manipulating my answers. So all in all, I think I did well. There were a few grammar errors here and there, right, which will definitely impact my band score. That being said, I would say that this cue card was still good enough for somebody who would be aiming for a band 8. The response that I gave would be good enough for anyone who's targeting a band 8, all right, or higher. So that's for sure. Let's move on to the next one. Let me bring up the, one second, just let me bring up the, okay, let me read the cue card. Talk about a piece of clothing that you received as a gift recently. You should say what it was, when you received it, who gave it to you, and explain if this gift was important to you. A garment that I received recently was a shirt that was gifted to me by my business partner, and it was on the occasion of my wedding. Now, this particular shirt was a check pattern shirt which was made of raw silk that had been procured from some of the most expensive yarns ever made on this planet, and the shirt itself had been woven in Italy and converted into a shirt at one of the most exclusive garment factories in India, which caters to the likes of Givenchy and Ermenegildo Zegna and some of the other bigger names as well. So as such, the gift was a very, very, very expensive gift that was given to me, and the day that I received it was 3 days prior to my wedding. So this business partner of mine, who also happens to be a very, very good friend of mine and an old university classmate, traveled early from England to be at my wedding, and he brought it along. So even before we got the celebrations going, he decided to share it with me, and indeed it is one of the most important gifts I have received, for a couple of reasons. One, of course, it was a wedding gift. Who doesn't like a wedding gift? Yep. I mean, of course, those who haven't yet been married will not appreciate the value of it, but for those of you who are, will definitely do so. And then also it sort of showed the efforts that my friend made to get me that gift, because it's not very easy to procure one of those shirts. It's rare, it's expensive, and a person may have to wait months on the end to get their hands on one shirt, and that too, once he finally got one, he decided not to hold on to it, rather he decided to share it with me. So yeah, that was the 2 minutes mark. I think I did pretty well this time around. I managed to cover all 4 points, and I think this was definitely good. Let's see what have I done. So I have been able to cover all 4 points: what it was, when you received it, who gave it to you, and explain if this gift was important to you. Definitely my response did not miss out on anything. Everything was well developed, and a band 8 is certain, right, in terms of what kind of a response I gave. Look, it's not possible to calculate a band score on the basis of just the cue card, but yes, it does give you an excellent idea as to where you stand. Guys, the one very important thing that I keep pointing out to everyone is that when I speak slowly. I do take my pauses when I need to think. Yes, there are some points where I possibly take a pause, not at the best possible time. So yeah, that's one thing. But that being said, still overall a good answer. Okay, and one thing that I know a lot of students will do, test takers will do, is they'll try to identify an actual gift that they received. Now, the gift that I spoke about was never received by me. In fact, heck no. I don't even think my friend can afford it, right? I think practically no. The particular shirt that I was speaking about, practically nobody can afford it other than for the handful of billionaires around the world. But hey, why not? I could think of that shirt, and I remember my friend getting me a gift on the wedding. So I clubbed the two, and I cooked an answer for the examiner. Cooking answers is absolutely fine. It's a part of the game. All right, let's go on. Let's move on. Let's go to the third one. So the third one. One second. Let me open the. Sorry guys, just give me a second here. Alright guys, alright, so let's bring up the next one and let's see what do I have. Describe a book that had a major influence on you. You should say what the book was, how you first heard of the book, what is the main story of the book, and why it plays such an important role in your life. Alright. So the one book that has influenced my life and helped me make a lot of decisions is definitely Harry Potter. And not just the one book, the whole series, which is all 7 books put together. They have probably impacted me more than anything else I have ever experienced. Now, me coming across this book was absolutely by chance. You see, Harry Potter had already become a phenomenon in the West around UK, US, Europe, but in India, it was still a very unheard of entity. And one of the bookstores in Ahmedabad called Crossword had a couple of copies on sale. And my mother wanted to gift a book to another friend of mine on her birthday, so she walked into the store and she purchased this book because it was on display, and she was like, okay, the cover looks very nice, maybe that the other friend of mine will enjoy reading it. So she purchased the book, brought it home, and I was one of those sweet kids who would always be naughty and open other people's gifts. And I opened it, of course, and I saw the cover and I started reading the book and absolutely fell in love with it. Alright, and I must have been in ninth standard. Yeah, I think I was definitely in ninth standard, and from there my love story with the book started. And the book is all about this little boy who goes to school where they teach magic, right? It turns out that he is a magician, right? And he's a wizard. He's not a magician. I correct myself. And that he was born to a family of wizards, and that this book will go on. That this book will then go on to discuss his 7 years of schooling. This whole series of books. And I think the reason why it played such an important role was because it taught me creativity. I, as an individual, I'm very creative, and from that book, I learned how to build a story, how to narrate a story, and that is why it's so important for me. Alright, guys, so I think we got a very lovely 2 minutes answer out of this one again, right? All 4 points covered. What the book was, how you first heard of it. In more than heard of it, I sort of got into how I actually started reading it, right? But that's fine, that's okay. That's a minor change, still works, serves the purpose. What is the main story of the book? Well discussed, well developed, right? This part I was still developing it when the 2 minutes mark, the 2 minutes alarm went off, so I had to stop, right? But all in all, I think it was a job well done. Okay, so that's that for these 3 cue cards, but as promised, I will cover the 4th one and this one so that we can have 3 for the last one. And as soon as I'm done with that, I shall bring this lesson to an end. Alright, so let's bring up the next video, the next cue card. Let me read it and start responding. Describe a website you often browse. You should say what is it, how long have you been using it, detailed information about the website, and explain why you often browse this website. Okay, let's get the alarm going. Well, one of the websites that I browse very often is the Google's news website, and I have been using it for close to 4.5 to 5 years now. And this particular website is an aggregator website. What is that? It is a website that gathers information from a number of other sources and displays those pieces of information on its own platform for people to read. So in case of Google News, what happens is it pulls its information from a number of news websites which are from India and around the world, and each of these news websites have a specialization in a certain kind of news. So if I were to find news across the board for various topics, I would have to probably download a million apps and then follow news on each of these individually, which could be very tedious, time consuming, and probably even a little irritating because you don't want to keep switching between apps time and again. So Google's very own news platform becomes a very convenient way to access all of these pieces of information. And all you have to do is, literally just go to the Google search bar, type in news, and one of the options is the Google News website. So on there you'll see that all the pieces of news have been listed according to the topic of interest. So you'll find headlines first, and then you'll find political news, and then you'll find sports news. You'll also find news related to entertainment, science, very important. And very easily you can go through each of these pieces of information. So the convenience of finding all the news in one place is what brings me back to this website on a regular basis. Now I, as an individual, enjoy staying updated in terms of certain pieces of news, certain types of news all day long, particularly in the space of science. Alright, so that was 2 minutes right there. I think that was again a job very well done. All pieces, all the points covered. What is it? How long have you been using it? Detailed information about the website. I think I ended up spending most of my time developing this point, right? And eventually I came to why you often browse this website, right? The convenience of it. And just as I was developing that point, the 2 minutes came to an end, which is once again, like I said, we don't need to worry about it. All points covered. Even if all points are not covered, we are still doing well, all right? So guys, yeah, that was 4 cue cards done in a single session. Not bad. I think I found my pace again. Just before I bring it to an end, I want to once again remind you that you can join me on Unacademy Plus and start preparing for your test with me and a number of other very good educators. And we have a lot of courses available for you to prepare for your test. You don't have to pay for each course separately. You just subscribe once and you can attend all the lessons. Alright guys, I do have one more session scheduled along the same lines for you to attend, and that one will discuss the last 3 cue cards in this series and will be the last one for this month as well in this series. Probably I'll schedule a few more next month. So see you in about 5-7 minutes on the next one. Alright, and for those of you watching it as a published video, guys, remember to keep practicing English, not mock tests. And for IELTS, keep it simple and stick to the basics. Goodbye.